gosh. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to
Mamá Cita, your weekly mama date
where we discuss all things momming
while Latina. Hi, I'm Wendy. I'm currently a stay-at-home mom by day and flamenco dancer and writer by night. I live in the suburbs. I'm raising 2 bicultural children. I'm from El Salvador, but grew up in Los Angeles in a very traditional Latin household.
And I'm Alex. I'm a single mom of a fabulous 5-year-old girl. I'm an artist, actress, and dancer living in LA. My life is not so traditional.
We've been friends for over 13 years, and trust us, figuring out motherhood is way more fun with your fellow Mamá Citas.
What do they call it on social media? Thirst trap or something?
Girl, I have no idea.
You're like IG queen en estos días.
Are you kidding me? I'm just having fun because I finally
This
realized
is like
what
the podcast.
stories.
Why is that always happens? I just start talking shit and then it becomes the podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I was gonna say is that picture was not that bad. The amount of skin that was showing was like this much. It's just like the position, or not even the position.
I think it was like just provocative.
It was
because
provocative.
your pants were part open and part off.
Yes, but what you could
not.
actually see was less than what you would see if you post a picture at the beach in a bikini.
But hello, that's the thirst trap.
That is the thirst trap. Yeah, no, I know that it was a sexy picture.
No.
But really you couldn't see anything. Like if you really look at that picture.
It's what you can't see that makes it sexy. Good girls know that. It's what you can't see
And good
that
girls
makes it
don't
sexy.
do that, I guess. My mom thought I was not a good girl. She's like, oh my God, you should hear the message. Girl, I'm not exaggerating. I woke up to phone calls, voice messages through WhatsApp. Pero esa foto está muy vulgar. Esa foto mostrando todo, ¿no te da pena que te vean toda la cola? ¿Qué van a pensar mis amigas? She was worried about her friends.
Yeah.
And then, you know what's funny? I got messages from my cousins, from like everybody saying, leave it up. Because everybody knows my mom and like where we come from. You know what I mean? That is like, Alex went crazy.
Yeah.
She is such a hoe.
She's on drugs.
Like that's it. She like... But that was the point of my post. Like the older I get, the less I care about people's opinions, about, you know, being a good girl.
Well, you know what that's called?
I know what's in my heart. I know that I'm a good person. But what the hell is a good girl anyway?
Yeah. Well, not giving a fuck is basically just being secure in yourself.
And I love that because
and that definitely comes with age.
Like that, it does come with age.
Yes,
it definitely comes with age.
Because I think a lot of teenagers will post sexy pictures of themselves, but there's like shame behind it,
and they're
rebelling against whoever
they're
it
rebelling.
is.
They're looking for validation.
Totally.
Which I'm not. Like
Nope.
I look at myself. I'm like, damn, I look good. I give myself the validation.
Yeah, well, that's how it's supposed to be.
And yeah, I really do see how the older I get, the less I give a fuck, and the more I love myself.
What made you decide to post that picture? What was the thought process behind that?
Because
you were like, damn, I look good in this.
Yeah. You know what it was? It was like good lighting. But not on purpose.
Yeah.
I was just like getting dressed and I was like, oh shit, look at that. Like, oh damn. There's like good lighting coming in through the window. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna take a picture because I look cute. So I took a picture and I was not gonna post it. I was not gonna post it because I'm a good girl and I don't post pictures like that. It's very like out of character for me to post a picture like that. Like even my friends were like, yeah, girl, damn, all right. You know, it's not, I mean, if you scroll through Instagram, this is like nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It is nothing. You can't see anything. It's nothing. But it's a lot for me, you know? But I don't know. I just thought I looked good. And then I was just thinking like, the older I get, the less I care. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put it up.
Yeah.
Because whatever, who cares?
You know what's funny? That same
Because
day,
who the hell cares?
I posted pictures of me in my samba costume where I was showing a lot more.
You know what? Actually, that kind of inspired me. You inspired me to post it. I took the picture just because I felt like, oh, damn, I look good. Like, I look pretty cute, right?
Yeah, you did. You still do.
Right? I was like, oh, shit. So I took the picture, and it was in my phone for a couple days. I was not going to post it. That was not the thought behind it. And then I saw you posting pictures showing like your belly and stuff, like all sexy in the samba costume. And I was like, okay, if Wendy
But mine
can
was
post
because
this picture, I'm like, okay, then I can post this one too. You inspired me.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
And then I was like, yeah, like who cares? I'm just gonna do it.
Well, I don't know if you read my post, but I wasn't trying to be sexy. I was
Girl,
actually
you were sexy.
I was, but that was not the point. I was
Okay,
commemorating.
hold on. Did everyone catch that? Wendy's like, yes, I was sexy, but I was not trying. It just happens naturally.
Well, it does.
No, I know.
But what
get
I was
it.
going to say is that I was commemorating the fact that Brazil did not have a whole carnaval this
yes.
year. And I was reminiscing about the times like when I was a samba dancer. And so I looked at the pictures and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to post this because it's appropriate and also I look cute.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with like appreciating when you look cute, right?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember back in the days when you were doing the samba stuff that they asked me to be in the samba company and I said no because I would not dance in a thong
Because you were
because
a good
I'm a
girl.
good girl. Wendy,
I
all
know.
of you were bad girls and I was a good girl.
Yep. So growing up, what was your mom's definition of a good girl that she imposed upon you?
Oh my God.
Like, what did she tell you?
I don't even know exactly how to explain that. It was just like everything I wanted to do, I couldn't because I was a good girl. Okay, something so simple like dyeing your hair. Like a crazy color, not just like normal dyeing your hair, because my mom dyes her hair all the time. But like, you know how when you're a teenager, like people dye their hair like green and pink and whatever. You know what I mean? Like
I had like burgundy streaks that eventually turned
like
pink.
How fun is that, right? But I couldn't do that because in my mind, that was not a good girl.
That's what bad girls did.
That's what the bad girls did. Like I was never really able to express myself and be like crazy and weird and like whatever because that was not a good girl. And it's not like she told me specifically.
She was showing you by example.
But it was, I would hear the commentary like, oh my God, mira lo que hizo fulanita or whatever. Like, oh my God, look at that girl's hair. Oh my God, pero qué cosa tan terrible. Like, oh my God, you know, es eso una locura. So like when you hear your parents, or like in my case, my mom, talk down about what other people are doing, then in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm not going to do that because that is not appropriate. Because she was like talking shit about, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, who's that girl's parents? You know, how could she do that? Blah, blah, blah. That's so terrible. So I'm like, oh, okay, well then never mind on that idea. So it's like all these like things that I wanted to express or experience, you know, explore growing up. I just shut everything down. I didn't even try because I was just
you were
like,
trying to live up to that.
because I was trying
to
be a good girl. I'm like, oh, okay, well, if that gets that reaction, then I'm just going to sit here and not do anything. And I'm a good girl.
Yeah.
Another thing, good girls don't get piercings or tattoos.
Oh my gosh. So I have a belly button piercing.
I want to hear that story. That's where I'm getting at.
So it's hilarious. We got very, very stoned and drunk in Berkeley. And we all thought, hey, let's go get a tattoo together. But I always knew I did not want a tattoo because a tattoo is like a commitment, right? And a piercing.
I can't commit.
Yeah.
I cannot. Anything that's forever, you know, Alex is like, out the door. Out the door.
So anyways, I got a piercing instead. And some of us, actually, I think everybody ended up getting a piercing, but some of us more obvious piercings than others. And I thought, well, I'll get a belly button piercing because my parents will never see it. And so I got it. And of course, I'm like doing laundry with my mom and I like lift my arms or something. And she sees this piercing. She nearly had a heart attack. She like cried. She wanted me to take it out. And I'm like, lady, I'm like 20, I don't know, maybe like 21, 22. I don't know, like in my 20s at the time. I'm in college. Like I paid for it myself.
Yeah.
How is this hurting you?
Isn't that funny?
And then
you know what it is? I think they feel like they failed as mothers.
Yeah.
When we do something that is not, you know, what a good girl does. Because I have made my mom cry a lot with things that I've done. Because, and it's not hurting anybody.
No.
It's just not what she wanted.
Well,
You know
she's
what I mean?
thinking
No.
it's like
I
you're
think it's
mutilating
like she
your
failed.
body.
Yeah, or like, where did she go wrong?
I know.
Oh my God, so she cried.
She cried. And then I was like, this is ridiculous. And then we went to like a pool party or something, and my parents were there. I just wore my bikini and showed the world my belly button ring. And of course, my dad's like mortified. And everyone's giving me dirty looks. And I'm like, I don't care. This is cute. But you know what's funny? Okay, so like I've had 2 babies. I took it out way too late during Soren's pregnancy.
You still had it on.
I had it on.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, so my friend gave me a really pretty one. It was like with little diamonds. It's actually gold. So it was like a real piece of jewelry, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to wear it. And so I took it off way too late with Soren. And my belly button got stretched. And then I never put it back in. So I thought it was closed. Then I was pregnant with Alouette. I had her. And I realized, oh my God, the hole is still open. So I put my belly button ring back in, and I'm wearing it right now.
Are you serious?
Yes, but you know what's funny? I will not show my parents.
Oh my God.
Like every time I wear something like, to bed, sometimes I wear things that are like sheer in the midriff area or whatever. Like I make sure my pants are like high-waisted over the belly button ring.
So you don't get in trouble.
So I don't get in trouble because I'm still a good girl. No, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want her to be like, you're a mother. What do you do? You know what I mean?
You?
Yeah.
You know what? I hate the term good girl.
Yeah.
And I say it all the time. Yeah, I've told you this all the time because I tell Sophia that. And every single time I say it, I catch myself saying it, and I'm like, ew, what am I doing?
You're being your mother.
It's horrible. Like, every time I drop her off somewhere or something, I'm like, okay, baby, be a good girl. It's
ingrained.
It is ingrained in me. It's just something that I say, like, okay, baby, be a good girl. Ew, gross.
So I never say this.
I need to stop. I need to figure out another way.
Yeah.
To say what I'm trying to say, because what I'm trying to say is not the same thing that like my mother was trying to say. You know what I mean? Like my meaning is
You're
different.
Trying to say
saying, like,
behave,
be
take
nice. Care of yourself, listen, like just behave,
practice
be safe.
good manners, all that stuff.
Yeah, all that. But
so make a list for yourself. That way when you say...
I need to do that. That's a good idea.
Goodbye. You could just go down the list and be like, okay, make sure, you're polite.
Yes.
You're taking care of
Say
yourself.
Please,
yes,
thank you,
like all
be
the
safe,
things.
Like use your judgment.
Uh-huh.
But shit, you don't have to be a good girl because what is that? Like I hate that. Oh my God, I don't know. I feel like I missed out on so much. Maybe that's the problem. Now I'm like, ta-da! Woohoo! I'm living my life now. Because I was so scared of not being a good girl. Isn't that horrible? Like living with that fear of like...
It is horrible.
Always trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So what are you going to tell your daughter about being a good girl?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't ever use the word or the phrase good girl already anyway.
Okay.
And my daughter's very different from me. And I can already tell because she's way more feisty and alive and she gets into everything. And my son is very much my personality, Yes. So when I had him first, it was like, oh, this is easy. Like we could just sit here and look at books together. And
he's like super chill.
Yes, he is. Whereas my daughter is like
all over the place.
Yes, I can't like leave her anywhere. I mean, she's very curious.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I find myself getting frustrated with her, right? Because we're so different. Mm-hmm. And I hear myself and my thought process and like my emotions, in the moment. And then I have to remind myself like, okay, I'm not trying to kill her spirit.
No.
Like that she is her own person.
She's not you. Yeah. Yes. She's not you. She needs to be herself.
We've talked about this actually literally this week because I had a tough week. I was just like frustrated. I'm like, child, just stay in one place for a second,
But this is her learning about the world in her own way.
Yes.
And you can't stop that.
I know. You're your own person, and I'm not going to kill your spirit because I respect that and I love that. Like, I want her to be curious. I want her to stand up for herself. Like, she'll scream at her big brother.
You know what? I always tell Sophia, speak up for yourself.
Yes.
Speak up for yourself. If you don't like something, say it. Like,
yeah.
Because nobody told me that.
Exactly. You didn't have a voice until you found it for yourself.
Yeah.
And so I think
it was
it's important.
late in life. Like, I'm still working on it.
Yeah. So I try not to use the word good as a qualifier for herself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I don't say you're good. Mm-hmm. I say this thing that you're doing is good.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like if she's awesome in so many other ways. Like she's very physical, right? Mm-hmm. So she like helps me clean and like picks up the shoes and puts them in the shoe rack. You know what I mean? So I don't say, oh, you're being such a good girl because you did that. That's not part of her personality. I say things like, thank you for helping me. That was very nice. Or like, that was a good thing to do. Being helpful is good. So I don't qualify good girl with an internal aspect of her personality.
Okay, I need to learn from you.
I qualify good girl with or good, quote unquote, whatever that means to you, as a qualifier for the action.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
That's what I try to practice with her specifically. I'm being very conscious with her because she's my daughter and I know how hard it is to be in the world as a woman.
Yeah.
And it's tough. I mean, I definitely didn't grow up like that. I grew up in that era where it's like, if you're a good girl, that means you are seen. And when you are seen, you are pretty. And you are never heard because it doesn't matter what you say. You're just a cute little girl. Sit there and be quiet. Wow. And that's how I grew up. And that was my, I guess, version of the good girl.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think all the moms of like our generation, like the house was so like siempre impecable, right?
Yes.
Like everything in its place, everything is like perfect. You can't touch anything. So like the kids were expected to like sit there and like not move, right?
Yes.
Like you sit, you behave. Don't touch anything. Don't touch. Don't play. Just sit like a good girl.
Yes. So I think about this all the time, and it was like, as a good girl, you weren't supposed to talk, have any opinions, move, get dirty, eat. Basically do anything that normal humans do.
Don't breathe. Just look pretty. Okay.
Yes.
And cross your legs.
Totally. Every time we would go to people's houses, that's exactly what I would do. I would just sit there and like didn't talk the entire time. And be polite.
The first thought that came to my mind was my mom's couch that she's had forever, like since before I was born. That's the same couch that she has now. Okay. Because she takes such good care of it.
Nobody sit on the couch.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
Is a room where you just look at the furniture.
Oh my God. Hold on.
Did you have that
room? Everyone? Yeah, I was going to say, did everyone have that room? Because that's what I feel like my mom's living room was. Like la sala. Mm-hmm. La sala is like, you like barely, like you have to like sit without like freaking touching the couch. Like you sit with like con todo cuidado because you don't want to like touch anything. Like don't breathe, don't move.
Did she ever serve like tea and crumpets in that room?
Hell yeah. Have you met my mother? Of course.
How did it stay so clean? Nobody ever ate. They just pretended to eat.
You pretend. You like...
Pinky up.
Pinky up. Pinky up, girl. A good girl, according to my mom, stays at home until she gets married. Did you get that also from your parents?
Yeah, I definitely got pressured, I think, to stay at home for as long as possible. I mean, I didn't live on campus when I went to university the way everybody else did. Part of it definitely was financially. My parents did pay for college, so I was able to graduate with no college debt. But I think also it was like, great, she gets to live at home and we can see what she's doing and who she's hanging out with and all that stuff.
Monitor.
Yes.
The activity.
Exactly. So I can be a good girl, right?
Yes.
And then I left my house, but it wasn't because I found my own apartment and was ready to take on the world as an independent single professional. I left because my house burned down.
You bad, bad girl.
I am a bad, bad girl. I left my house and I secretly went to live with my boyfriend.
My goodness.
I know. My parents thought that I went to live with my friend.
Are you serious?
Yeah, well, that's what I told them because I was like, you know what? We've already been through so much trauma right now with the house burning down. I'm just going to let you know that I'm living with my friend in Burbank. This is my childhood friend. And I just let them believe that. But really, I moved in with my boyfriend, who was like my first serious relationship. It's not like I was trying to hide it. Yeah. It was just like, I'm letting you have this, lie just so you can keep going with your life and feel like everything is okay.
Feel like you did a good job raising a good girl.
Yes, because if I tell you the truth, it's going to become drama.
Yeah.
Right? And it did. Like when they found out, it became drama and my mom was like, oh my, estaba totalmente escandalizada. And she just did not even want to talk to me. Like everything I said, like we just had the worst couple of years.
I wonder if they were more hurt by the fact that you lied.
Oh, no.
Or it was because, oh my God, our good girl is now living with a man.
Yeah. And because I'm living with a man, now everyone knows I'm not a virgin.
I never moved out. And I'm still a virgin.
That's right.
I never technically moved out. I was in that house, remember where we had that 80s party?
And then everybody left you, right?
Everyone left. Okay.
You were abandoned.
I was abandoned. And it worked out great for me. So during that time, by the way, I found the picture just the other day of my 80s party. Mm-hmm. Remember that picture that we have?
Yes. I love the cheetah.
Oh my God, it's so awesome. Okay, I'll post the picture of my 80s party. So this was the house where I lived with my mom, and then my sister moved in, and then my dad moved in for a while. It was temporary because my parents weren't together, but somehow we all ended up living in this house together, and it worked. So we were all living in this house, and then everybody started leaving, like one at a time. First, my dad left. Then my sister got a job in Georgia. That's when she first moved out to Georgia with my niece. And then my mom ended up going to Colombia for something. I don't know, my aunt needed her over there for a while, and so she left to Colombia. And while everyone was gone, I was like, why am I alone in this big house? So I decided to move and, just told the landlord, like, hey, we don't need this big house anymore. I'm out. And then that was that. So I never technically moved out because I think it would have been really, really difficult for me to move away from my mom. But because she left to Colombia during that time, that was like my way out. And then I got my own place.
Well, there you go.
It worked.
You did it the right way. You didn't even have to move out.
That's what I'm saying. I never moved out, and I'm a virgin, you guys.
It's working out for you, girl.
It's working out. It is working out for me. I was such a good girl that when I worked with Shakira, I was the only person under the age of 21.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm hanging out with all the musicians, with like all these people. Mm-hmm. Little Alex was such a good girl that I did not drink. I was like, no, thank you. Because in my mind...
Nerd.
Yes. Nerd. Boba. Pendeja. Like, what is wrong with you?
No,
in my mind...
that's fine.
It was like I had this fear of getting like in trouble or being bad. I don't know. And I was like, well, I'm not 21, so I probably shouldn't take that class. Thanks.
That's
and I was the only one. Like, I'm in the freaking sky on a private plane. Who's gonna know?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna know. But in my mind, like, I had this thing ingrained that I had to be a good girl. And now I'm like, wow, that was dumb.
Well, I was definitely drinking before I was 21, and I did have the guilt. Like, I would go home wasted and just like pretend I was sober. Oh my God. I don't know how I did this. Funny. I don't know how my parents even thought I was sober. I don't even know. Maybe they didn't. For the longest time, my friends and I would just think to ourselves, our parents cannot be this dumb. They're not. They're not this dumb. What they're doing is called denial. If they don't admit that this is going on, then they don't have to deal with it. they probably knew, could smell it or see it on my face. And nobody ever said anything, Because Wendy's a good girl.
Because Wendy's a good girl.
Yeah. Like the expectation was already set. Wendy's a good girl. I got good grades. I was solid. Yeah. Like in my friendships, I didn't have friends that were scary or like that my parents would then be like, oh, why is she hanging out with that guy or that girl? Or, they must be getting into trouble. None of that.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way, I could get away with a lot because I always appeared to be a good girl and acted in that way in front of them.
Yeah.
You know what I think it is? When you set up these expectations of being like a good girl, then you're just asking for your kids to rebel. Like when you give them a list of like, it's this, this, and this, and this makes good girl or equates to whatever you want to, name it.
Yeah.
Then at some point, they're going to resent it if they can't live up to it, and they're going to rebel.
Yeah.
And some kids rebel harder than others. I mean, my rebellion was not crazy at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at all.
Left to live with a man.
I left to live with a man.
You horrible, horrible person.
No, but some kids rebel with like drugs or hurting themselves or hurting others and all that stuff. And
no, that's serious.
Yeah, that's serious.
Yeah. I never did.
No, that was
anything
not
like that.
My type of rebellion. My type of rebellion was more of a liberation. Like I honestly, when I first met my friends in college, I was like, oh my God, these women are so free. This is amazing.
That's what I thought when I met you girls. I was like, what is this other world? Like, what is going on? Because I have never experienced this. And you guys would just go out and have fun and like do whatever you wanted. I was like, I've never lived this before.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's what it was for me. It just felt very liberating. Yeah. Like, okay, this is how other women can be. Well, that's what I've been wanting to be. I just didn't have an example of it because I've been stuck in this part of the world.
Being a good girl.
Being a good girl.
Yeah, I was such a dork. Like, I don't know what.
No.
But then I met you guys.
I know. And then it all went to shit.
And then it was all downhill from there. Mamacitas, what is a good girl? Do you find yourself using the phrase, be a good girl, with your daughter? What are you really trying to say when you use this phrase? Is this something your mother said to you?
On the next episode of Mamá Cita,
the Mamá Cita Confessions.
This is a podcast about starting conversations, so share your thoughts.
Leave us comments.
Send us pictures of your mama date.
Mamá Cita.
Mama date.
Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Mamá Cita Podcast. And if you want to talk to us live, look for us on Clubhouse. New episodes out every Friday, so don't forget to subscribe. And if you like what you heard, please give us 5 stars and leave a review. Thank you for listening. Mamá Cita Podcast is created, hosted, and produced by Wendy Castellanos-Wolf and Alexandra Rosso. Edited by Alexandra Rosso. Our sound engineer is Scott Wolf, and our theme song is based on Drume Negrita, a Cuban lullaby, arranged and recorded by Scott Wolf. Also, check out our Mamá Cita blog by Wendy Castellanos-Wolf. Find that and more at mamacitapodcast.com.
What does it mean to be a good girl, Alex? Not this.
Just space them out, girls. Just space them out.
If you know who the baby daddy is, you're a good girl.
Oh my God. That's terrible, Wendy. We cannot put that in.
We did it.